Doom Marine, Doomguy, Doom Slayer, he's gone by many names over the years and has had many incarnations. But he has been the one constant in the Doom series, even as it has changed and changed back throughout its history. The face of the series, ironically enough, given that we don't really see his face all that much, from the silent and unmovable Doomguy in the classic Doom games to the not-so-faceless Doom Marine of Doom 3. Much like it did with a lot else of the series universe, Doom 2016 lent a great deal of lore and backstory to the Doom Slayer, and with Doom Eternal right around the corner, this is the perfect time to look back at his complete story. Before we get into that though, how exactly does Doom 2016's account of the Doom Slayer connect with that of the other Doom games? Well, there's various possible answers for that. The first one is that it doesn't, that the 2016 game is a straight reboot, and the newest Doom Slayer has nothing to do with the previous games. Several Doom fans, though, insist that this is the same Doom Slayer we've always played as throughout the series, that Doom 64 leads into the events of Doom 2016, and sure enough, codex entries throughout the newest game do seem to support that theory. In fact, even Quake Champion suggests that the Slayer is a single warrior who's been fighting against the armies of hell through space and time. But here's what we're going to do. Just for the purposes of this feature, we're going to drop the baggage of all the previous Doom titles, avoid trying to sort out all the conflicting theories and pieces of evidence, and focus only on what Doom 2016 tells us. So what does it tell us? Well, even Doom 2016 makes it pretty clear that the Doom Slayer has been fighting against the forces of hell for a long, long time. He was most likely the leader of the Night Sentinels, an ancient group of elite soldiers and the fiercest warriors in the realm of Argent D'Nur. We've covered them and their story extensively in a separate feature already, but the long and short of it is that a fateful conflict against the forces of hell saw the Night Sentinels being slaughtered and Argent D'Nur being completely destroyed and absorbed by hell. The only remaining warrior who stood against the demon hordes of hell was the Doom Slayer, and rather than being crushed by the defeat of Argent D'Nur and the destruction of the Night Sentinels, he became even more dogged in his pursuit to fight back against the forces of hell. In his quest for retribution, the Doom Slayer wreaked devastating havoc upon his enemies, and the more destruction he wrought upon the forces of hell, the more power he would draw from his fallen enemies, growing stronger and stronger and stronger still. The forces of hell feared the destructive powers of the Doomslayer, who was almost a one-man army who could single-handedly thwart most of their machinations. What made him even more fearsome for the demons was the fact that he had help. A lot of help. That help came in the form of what's described in the game as terrible power and speed, and was given to him by the Seraphim. Another unlikely source of aid for the Doomslayer came from hell itself. Referred only to as the Wretch, who was a traitor to Hell's cause, he either created the Doomslayer's legendary Praetor suit or helped enhance it, and was very likely the one who was responsible for the suit's ability to harness and use Hell's energy. As the threat of the Doomslayer grew and the Lords of Hell realized that nothing they could throw at him could keep him down, they decided to take some extreme measures. They created a warrior known as the Titan, who, true to its name, was a colossal hellish beast with fierce and terrifying powers. Perhaps the only demon in existence with a physical form larger than the Titan is the Icon of Sin, who we briefly saw in Doom 2016 and will be seeing more of in Eternal. In an ensuing battle, the Doomslayer and the Titan went up against each other, but the Slayer emerged victorious here too, killing the Titan. With even the Titan having been unable to do anything to the Doomslayer, the forces of hell rolled the dice one last time on a final plan. They turned to the demon priests of the Blood Temples, who lay down a trap in the Blood Keep. Knowing that the Doomslayer would enter the temple and look to destroy the demons inside, the priests waited there. The Slayer, to no one's surprise, did as they expected, and while he was caught up in the ripping and shredding of demons, the priests sprung the trap. They brought down the temple on him and then proceeded to seal him in a sarcophagus, and that is where he remained for a long, long time. We now jump straight ahead to the events of Doom 2016. Before the Slayer awoke again and resumed his fight against Hell, fateful events had started taking place at the UAC base on Mars. Olivia Pierce had been corrupted by the influence of Hell and had been tasked with ensuring that the UAC, who had been leading manned incursions into Hell, wouldn't find and retrieve the Doomslayer sarcophagus. Led by Samuel Hayden, though, who knew that the Slayer might end up being vital should the forces of Hell attack, especially in light of Olivia's increasingly erratic behavior, successfully retrieved his tomb and brought it to Mars. Not long afterward, Olivia opened a portal from Hell on Mars, triggering their invasion of the UAC base, and this, in turn, prompted Hayden to awaken the Doomslayer once again. Over the past few weeks, we've covered much of the events that followed across various features. Samuel Hayden attempted to establish contact with the Slayer, and after several unsuccessful attempts, was finally able to do so. He also managed to forcibly install a tether, a device used by the UAC to teleport things to and from Hell into the Slayer's Praetor suit. Meanwhile, the Slayer, realizing at least for now that his and Hayden's goals were aligned, agreed to work with him in an attempt to undo the damage Olivia had caused. This involved much demon slaughter, as you might imagine, as well as the destruction of the Argent Tower in the UAC base by Hayden, much to the displeasure of Hayden himself. All of it ultimately culminated in the Slayer reluctantly destroying the core of the artificial intelligence known as Vega, who essentially ran and operated the entire UAC base single-handedly, so that the resulting explosion of Argent energy, which powered the AI's core, would open a portal into Hell, but not before the Slayer made a backup copy of the AI and kept it for himself. After heading into Hell, the Doomslayer got his hands on the Crucible, an artifact from the ancient city of Argent Denur that could be used to not only control Argent energy, but also to close the portals from Hell, following which he took an Olivia Pierce, who had been transformed into the demonic spider mastermind, in battle. After successfully killing her though, the Slayer was immediately teleported back to the UAC facility thanks to Hayden activating the dimensional tether he had installed in his Praetor suit. Hayden, having realized that he and the Doomslayer could not work together, owing to the fact that while the Slayer wanted to only destroy Hell and anything to do with it, Hayden instead wanted to harness its energy for the good of mankind, stole the Crucible from him and then, using the tether in a suit, teleported him away to an unknown location, thus bringing the story of Doom 2016 to a close. Very soon, the Doomslayer will once again be taking center stage when Doom Eternal releases, and the stage has truly been set for a journey even more epic than the one we already went through in Doom 2016. With the Maker, the Forces of Hell, and entities such as the Icon of Sin and the Betrayer all having been confirmed to making appearances in the game, it's very likely that we'll be learning a lot more about the Slayer and his past. Will we finally have some clarity on whether he is the same Doom Marine from previous titles, or will id Software continue to keep that purposely vague about that, and instead build up even stronger lore and backstory for him? Either way, it's a win-win situation. What they did with the Doomslayer in Doom 2016 was absolutely incredible, and we couldn't be more excited to see what they do with him next in Doom Eternal. And that wraps it up. If you like what we are doing, please consider subscribing to our channel, and don't forget to switch on the bell notification icon. That way you will never miss out on any of our videos.